Hello everyone, good morning. Ivan here from Classroom Secrets. I hope everyone's alright. Hope you're all staying safe, especially those who've just gone back into schools this week, so hopefully it's not been too mental for you. So today I've just got a quick and hopefully fun activity linked to understanding percentages for you. There you go, you can just see all the items or all the resources we'll need for today's activity. Now, today's activity is linked to a Year 5 objective. However, there's nothing to stop you from trying it with your younger children or your old children. It is all good practice, and hopefully, because it's going to be a fun activity, your fingers crossed, they'll really take to it. So as you can see, I've just got all my items or resources that I need for this activity, for this game, set up. I quite like my competitive elements when I bring in the activities. I think it brings the best out of children, makes it really fun, and adults can join in as well. Because, you know, I'm a kid inside still. I like my competitive elements, I like my games, so yeah, I'll try to bring that in. So all you'll need is just a pen and pencil, some paper, just record your answers down, some digit cards. So I've just created the digit cards just like last week. I've just used some paper. I've written on it with pencil just because if I use felt tip, it'll go through. If I use pencil, it doesn't, so you can't see the digit card behind it. And also you'll need a couple of dice. Now, the digit cards are optional. I'll go into that in a second, but the thing that you will definitely need is a 10 by 10 grid. So what I've done here, I've literally just taken a sheet of paper, I've used my ruler, and I've made a 10 by 10 grid so that we've got 100 squares. Now, the reason we need this is because we're focusing on percentages, and just to reiterate, all a percentage is just an amount out of 100. Now, children may find the misconception that you can go over 100%, but, you know, especially with sayings like, you know, give 110%, people, you know, children might hear that quite a lot, and we know that just means try your hardest, but in maths, it's actually impossible to go over 100% because 100% is just an amount, well, a percent is just an amount of 100. So that's why we've got this to help reiterate that as we're playing the game. Now, we will be writing on this, and a good tip to bear in mind is if you are creating your own from pencil and paper, you can actually take any bit of plastic, so maybe a bit of cling film, or, you know, I've just got an old CD case, and all I've done is fold this bit of paper up. I'm going to place it in here. And that way, if I write on it, I can actually go ahead and wipe it off after I've used it, and I can reuse it for the next game. So then you're not wasting paper, you're not having to waste paper or create your own again afterwards. Oops, got it the wrong way. Got the label there, so that's not going to help. If I place that in, there you go, all set to go. Now, you can create your own like I have done, or you could print your own template out from Google. There's plenty out there, just 10 by 10 grid. Or you can just make your own on Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint, and then just print it out. In schools, teachers tend to laminate you know, things like these so that they can reuse them. If you've got laminates at home, I suppose you could do that as well. So now that we've got all set up, we're going to be taking this because we're definitely going to be needing this. And the game today that I've created is called 100% Showdown. So what we're going to do is just take our digit cards. So I've got 1 to 6. So these are digits that will appear on your dice. So the reason I've got 2 lots of 7, 2 lots of 8, and 2 lots of 9 is because I want these to appear more often. Because if you use a dice in this game, you won't actually get the digits 7 to 9 or even 0, because it only goes from 1 to 6. So that's why I've got 2 lots of 8, 2 lots of 7, 2 lots of 9, because hopefully these will come up more often. But again, these are optional, and I'll show you in a second why. So what I'll do actually, I'll show you how to play a game with just the dice, and then I'll show you how to play the game with the digit cards as well. So depending on the number of players, each player will get a 10 by 10 grid, 100 grid. And what I'm going to do is, if I go first, so imagine I was the first player, I'm going to roll a dice. So that's a 3 there. I've also rolled a 4. So the two percentages I could make are 43 and 34. And my goal is to cross out on my 100 grid, either 34 or 43, and I want to get as close to 100 as possible. So here, for example, 43 is the biggest number, so I'm going to be crossing out 43 squares. So I know that it's a 10 by 10 grid, so that's going to be 10 there, that's 10 there, that's 10 there, and then I've got 40 there, so 10 there, and then I've got another 3. So there's 43. And my goal is to try to get to 100% quicker than my other player. So again, like I said, because we're using plastic, if we make a mistake, we can always just rub it out like that, and you can use it for your next game. So there, 43. So then the next player goes, and then they can see what they score. So they, for example, if they roll the dice, they'd get 40, 44. So they're winning at the moment because they've scored 1% more than the other player. Now, if you want to, you can bring in the digit cards because you can substitute one of the dice with a digit card. So, for example, if I roll again, I've got a 1. I'm going to shuffle my cards. This time I've got a 7. So a 7 wouldn't appear in your 6 on your dice because it only goes from 1 to 6. So I've scored a 7. So I could create 71 or 17. So in this instance, I want to create 17 because if I created 71 and I've got 34 already, 34 plus 71, that would go over 100%. And that's the benefit of this game. Because you want to draw in the fact that you can't go over 100%, we know that 71 plus 33 will go over it, so we can't go. So therefore, I'm going to create 17. So I'm going to cross up my 7 and then cross up my 1. So therefore, I just need 10, 20, 30, 40, 49 more percent for 49% to complete the game. Now, that's also another beauty of it. So as you go through the game, a question you could ask is, well, what percentage do I need to get to 100%? And because the dice is random, the roll is random, every percentage could be different. So as you play the game, every single time you play the game, the questions will always differ. They'll recognize different percentages, which is brilliant, really. Now, as you get closer to the end, so say, for example, I rolled all the way up to, let's see, 89%, then it's up to the player then. They can decide whether they want to roll 2 dice or a dice and a digit card. So an example, if we were playing the game with just 2 dice, I'm gonna choose to use 1 dice instead, because the risk is if I roll a 6 and a 5, I can't go because I can make 56 or I can make 65, but that's way too big, so I couldn't go. So the next player would have their turn, and I'm losing a turn then. So when you get really close to the end, just it's up to the players to decide. They can take a dice away and just say, this time I'm just going to roll 1 dice rather than 2. This time I've rolled a 5, so actually I can go. So 5%, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I only need 6% left to win. So again, it brings in that competitive element. Hopefully children will take to it. And again, it is very adaptable. You can either use digit cards or you can use the dice. Or use both, make it interesting. You can play it by yourself as well. So another alternative to do is to use your timer. So if I get my timer up. So if I go ahead and wipe this off a second. Ooh, let's see. It might be better off with a tissue actually, because that way you can get rid of all the ink. There you go, and you're ready for the next game. So, actually last week when I did this, I didn't realise that when I started the timer and I stopped the timer, I landed on exactly 45. So I'm not going to repeat that because I'm probably not going to be able to do that again, and I quite like the fact that last time I did it, I landed straight on 45 seconds. So you could just play the game yourself, 2 dice. Start the timer, roll your 2 dice, you got 42, or you can create 24, and then just cross it off. And then just a case of seeing how long it takes you to get to 100%. So very adaptable. You can play it either individually or play it with any amount of players. Just make sure that you've got enough of these 100 square grids, depending on how many players you've got. And like I said, it is geared towards year 5, but there's nothing stopping you from trying it with your older or younger children. I quite like it. I'm 28 now. I think it's quite clever. So, have a go. Let me know what you think. We do look at the comments as well. So if you do try this out, please do leave a comment on the game underneath this video, just to tell us, how you found it. What you found useful? Is there any way we can improve it? We always look for feedback. So, let us know. But that's it for today, guys. Hopefully you found that useful. There you go, guys. Right. So hopefully you found that useful. If you like it, leave a comment. And then any suggestions, more than welcome to leave a suggestion. And yeah, hopefully see you next time. All right, bye for now. Bye.